Welcome to the Speak Uneasy podcast. Please support my show by like, share, and subscribing to the show. You can find my videos on BitChute, Rumble, and YouTube. Catch my live stream shows on the foxhole.app or pilled.net. Follow my social media on the speakuneasy.tv, pilled.net, Gab, Facebook, Instagram, and CLOUTHUB. You can also financially support the show by donating to my PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, or visit my merchandise store or join my Subscribe Star. You can also financially support the show by donating gold pills via the foxhole.app or pilled.net. All links can be found on the description box. Thank you and welcome to the bar.
Welcome to the Speak Uneasy, a safe space where cancel culture does not exist because we are in a different prohibition era.
Good evening and welcome to another episode of the Speak Uneasy with your host, the bartender. Tonight's random read is going to come off of the book of Ezekiel, chapter 1, verses 4, a whirlwind from the north. And I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north, a great cloud, and a fire enfolding itself, and a brightness was about it, and out of the midst thereof, as the color of amber, out of the midst of the fire. Once again, this random read comes from the book of Ezekiel, chapter 1, verses 4, a whirlwind from the north. This is very short. So, what I can gather from this is, it's a warning. It's a warning. Just based off of what it said, I'm going to take it as a warning. And I've been talking about stuff like this for already a few weeks that I feel something coming up in the horizon. I don't know if it's going to be good. I don't know if it's going to be bad, but there's something big that I think is going to happen. I really don't know what it is. Although I do have my theories, but there's no juice to those theories. They're just theories, hypotheses, educated guesses. My educated guess, remember when Joe Biden said that there was going to be a dark winter? Well, I honestly think that the dark winter will be this winter. I think so. Because of all the people who have gotten vaccinated, I seriously think that there may be mass death tolls due to the vaccinations, and this is just my hypothesis. It's just a guess. I don't know for sure, so please do not quote me on anything here as far as like, that's set in stone. No, it's just what I think. It's what I ponder. So that's my take on tonight's random read. So tonight's cocktail is going to be a very simple one. I'm probably not going to do a history on it because I've made this cocktail before. The only difference is I went to a farmer's market a couple of days ago and found something interesting called sorghum syrup. The guy told me at the farmer's market that older people used to use this as syrup on pancakes and stuff like that. And I noticed that it had molasses in it. So when I bought it, because I bought a jar of it because I was curious about it. And I opened it up and I was like, wow, this thing is very, very sweet. It may make an interesting sweetener for an old fashioned, which is what I'm going to be making tonight, an old fashioned. So, let's start this. So for tonight's bourbon that we're using for the old fashioned. We're gonna use a Weller Special Reserve weeded bourbon. It's weeded bourbon, so it's more sweeter. I would say it's more sweeter than your typical bourbon. Your typical, I don't know, man. Weeded bourbon. Is that still 51% corn mash? I don't know. Well, I guess it would be, because if it wasn't, it wouldn't be called bourbon, right? So I guess the mash includes wheat in it too. So yeah, let's try this out. I'm very curious about how this is gonna taste. So anyways, we're gonna take about half an ounce of this sorghum syrup. Okay, so let's go ahead and start this. Okay, got half an ounce in there of sorghum syrup. Man, I can smell the molasses, the sweetness of the syrup. Now we're gonna go ahead and throw in a couple dashes of bitters in here. We're using Angostura aromatic bitters, so I put 3 dashes of Angostura aromatic bitters in there. Next, we're going to put the bourbon in there. Usually, old fashions would call for about 2 ounces of bourbon, but I'm going to put 3. I'm going to put 3 because I can. Dude, I spilled some. I spilled some bourbon. Damn. I guess it was bound to happen, right? Small workspace. Well, lucky for me, I got my wipes here. I got my wipes. So it's not that big of a deal. But now this whole thing is going to... My desk is going to smell like bourbon. Let me wipe this up real quick. Let me wipe this. All right. We're going to put some ice into the mixing glass. Oh, no. All right, next we're going to stir. We're going to stir this, dilute a little bit. Round and round the old-fashioned goes. In the meantime, while I'm stirring, I do have my rocks glass on chill right now. It's iced up with water. So as soon as I'm stirring this, I'm going to dump that into the... I'm going to dump the ice and water. And we're going to put ice inside the rocks glass and then do our thing. Do my thing. All right, let's go ahead and dump the water out of the water and ice out of the glass. Put some ice in there. Now we're gonna pour the the old fashioned into the rocks glass and strain it with the yeah, we're gonna strain it. All right. Next thing we're going to do is take an orange peel, express the oils around the drink. Ooh, that smells good, the orange. Next thing we do is rub the oil around the glass, on the rim of the glass. Go ahead and give that a little twist and throw it in for your garnish. And there it is, the, I guess you can say, the wheated bourbon sorghum old fashioned. Anyways, now the moment of truth, the taste. Cheers. Do it again. Not too overpowering with the alcohol. It really isn't. It tastes like an old fashioned. No difference. Oh, okay, there it is. Okay, so on the aftertaste, there's a bit of a molasses taste. There's a bit of a molasses taste on the after. So on the nose while you're drinking, because we've put the oils all expressed it on the top of the cocktail, and also rub the orange peel on the glass, you get that orange smell. You sip, sweet, very sweet type of bourbon, or not bourbon, but old fashioned, and then as it goes down, you get an aftertaste of molasses. So there it is. I guess we can call this the wheated sorghum old fashioned. I guess we can call it that. Cheers. And on to the show. So the first article I have here for review comes from The Federalist, written by Rich Cromwell. I believe this was published August 26th of this year. I didn't put the date down, but anyways. Title reads, "If people who get the shot can still spread Charlie Victor, what's the point of vaccine passports? Given that the CDC says vaccinated people can still spread the Delta variant, how do vaccine mandates and passports make any sense? Imagine a future where you get your vehicle and the active cabin monitoring feature kicks on it. It's automatically set to record. It tracks all your movements and behaviors behind the wheel between your starting point and to your destination." I don't like this idea already. "At the end of the route, it sends a report to your phone, and whatever agencies," exactly why I don't like it, "are charged with monitoring such things." Why this is invasive. Like, I don't want any kind of agency, let alone any kind of private company, to record anything about what my decisions are doing. My decision making, rather. I mean, I think we all see this already with advertisement. It's too much. It's too much. It's butting into privacy already. I'm just saying. You park and walk the rest of your way to your destination, a restaurant. You head up to the greeter and present your clean bill of good driving. What? So you can get permission to be taken to your table and eat. If that sounds ridiculous, keep in mind that's close to where we are now. Yeah, Rich Cromwell is right. He's absolutely right. We know that Charlie Victor 19 shots generally prevent worse outcomes. Do they? Prevent? I don't know if they prevent. They probably promote. We also know they don't prevent infection any more than a seatbelt prevents car crashes. And while in America we love passing laws and regulations, no, we don't. No, it's the people in power who love to do that. And it's also liberals as well, because they can't think for themselves. I'm going to be bashing liberals, yes. Liberals, they have this mentality of trusting government, which leads me to believe that they want the government to think for them as opposed to them thinking for themselves. Conservatives and libertarians, on the other hand, believe in thinking for themselves, working for themselves, having less government. So, it only makes sense, right? If you are a true free thinker, maybe you don't want the government invading in your own privacy. I'm just saying. And I know this is like midway of what I'm reading right now, but I just thought I'd throw that out there. Okay, where was I? We also know they don't prevent infection any more than a seatbelt prevents car crashes. Okay, I read that part. And while in America we love passing laws and regulation pushing people to exhibit excessive caution, I think that's more like fear-mongering. We don't generally ask for proof that those measures were taken, except when the municipalities need to raise a little additional income. Mother effers. You see what I mean about more government? More government. Liberals, this is what you believe in. So we have nobody to blame but you liberals out there who want this. From ever since I was a little boy, I always believed in less government. Always. And this is when I came around to figure out how government worked. Stop the spread? Not so fast. Initially, we were promised that vaccines and mRNA treatments would stop the spread. Yeah, we know that's bullshit. That unfortunately hasn't turned out to be the case. Like I said, that was BS. But don't take that from me. Take it from everyone's current favorite government agency, the Centers for Disease Control. In contrast, the Delta variant seems to produce the same high amounts of virus in both unvaccinated and fully vaccinated people. However, like other variants, the amount of virus produced by Delta breakthrough infections in fully vaccinated people also goes down faster than infections in unvaccinated people. This means fully vaccinated people are likely infectious for less time than unvaccinated people, according to the Alphabet Agency. It's in quotes. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to keep pushing forward with this article, man. Given that the Delta is the dominant variant and that vaccinated people can still spread it, albeit reportedly for a shorter period of time, why are vaccine mandates being pushed? Well, what is the agenda here? What is the end game here? Let me read on. In fact, we've all acknowledged with gusto that vaccines don't stop the spread. Witness the renewed call for masks, or I should say muzzles, not only from the CDC and experts on high, but also from the Biden administration. Well, gee, wonder what political party they're affiliated with. In addition, the CDC has established itself as a front for all kinds of ridiculous ideas. Why are people not using at least, I joke about this a lot, about common sense not being common, and I know a lot of people out there have thrown those jokes out too. I don't know what happened. Whatever happened, just common sense stuff. Common sense thinking. Whatever happened to that? It goes a long way. It really does. But apparently, I don't know what they've been putting in our food, in our water, what kind of stuff they've been inundating us on television. Just a whole barrage of things to make us dumber. And I'm speaking, when I say us, I mean us as in general. Because there are a few percentage of us who are still aware of what is going on. We see through this. We see through the BS of all this. And unfortunately, the mass public does not. I don't understand why. Maybe they're doing something to the food. They're doing something to the water. They're definitely, there's something going on there. Because brains are not working the way they should. And people are getting a lot more lazier in thinking for themselves. They are. They're relying on somebody else to make decisions for them. Part of that is not wanting to take the responsibility of whatever decision that is. Well, that's a part of life. You make a decision, you stick with whatever consequence that it may lead to, and you go through it. If it's a bad consequence, then shit, man, just go through it. Build some character, have some balls. I don't know. Is my way of thinking kind of radical for people to grasp? I don't think so. I mean, when I was a kid, that's kind of the thing that my mom taught me. Although she wasn't present a lot, she did stress out a lot of stuff to me as a child. She did. And I'm not saying that she wasn't there because she was a bad parent. She wasn't there because she was sick. So, there's a lot of stuff that's instilled in me because of my mom. And I don't get it. I don't know what's going on here with people's brains. I don't. But, I'm going off on this tangent here. Let me stick to this article, then we can discuss this. Because I don't know, man. I don't understand what's going on here. My brain can't even grasp why the mass public can't just use common sense. Anyhow, no medium rare steak. We should all probably stop drinking. And if you're cooking chitlins, a dish more commonly consumed by black people, for God's sake, don't forget to watch your children. Good job on the paternalistic racism, CDC. What? What? After I read that paragraph, I'm like, what? Where are they going with this? What? We did not go for mandates before, so why now? But our problem isn't the CDC. Sclerotic, racist, and inept as it is, the problem is the businesses pushing the mandates, the White House, the cities, but aren't they just following the science? No, they're not following the science. What they're doing is they're following the reaction of people. They're following the reaction of everybody who are not inept to think for themselves. This is why we need to wake people up. And this is why I believe that people who think like me are not the majority. Because if we were the majority, you think these agencies will be making these calls to make mandates for all this stuff? I don't think so. You get the mass public out there controlled, and the government's just going to keep overstepping and overstepping and overstepping. I understand that back during the Civil War, or not the Civil War, but the Revolutionary War, rather. Excuse me for my mistaken history there, as I've repeated many times that I was a horrible student in high school. It only took 3% of the population, but it was a different time. It definitely was a different time. There was no, how do you say? I mean, information is so easily accessible now. There shouldn't be any excuse, which means there should be more than 3% now to figure this out. We should be the majority. I definitely agree. We should be the majority. But a lot of people out there, and I think this is what's leading me to believe that people need to kind of let go of worldly things, right? I think part of this is when people hold on to worldly things, they get scared to step out of that box because of what they have right now. They've been so comfortable to what they've had for so long, or what they believe they worked hard for. And believe me, I'm the same way too, but there has to be a point where you need to give something up in order for you to make this huge change. And I've given up. I've given up something very, very huge to me. I have, because I really believe that this fight is more important than what kind of money I could be making. I have children who are going to be living in this world, starting their own families in X amount of years. And I want to be able to pave the way for them to have, a fairly good life, right? But it seems that the direction that we're taking now, it doesn't seem that they're going to have that good life that I really want them to have. And to, already we're already putting debt on these children. Okay? They're already slavery debts, or debt slaves rather. I'm sorry. They're debt slaves now because of, not because of us, it's more because of the people in power. Right? That's one form of slavery, is to put you in debt. Keep chasing, trust me, because I've been there. I've been there many times where I've paid off debt and then slid back again. I really believe, you need to give something up that's of this world in order for you to press on forward and go forward. There has to be a sacrifice, man. There really does. Nobody said that this was going to be easy to keep our rights and our freedom. Nobody said it was going to be easy. As you know, many people have died for it. Many. And I'll be damned to give that up. I'll be damned to give that up. Because of all the fallen who actually believe in the idea of freedom. And I know I'm going off on a tangent again, but I can't help myself. I really can't. I really want the mass public to please wake up. It's important. Here's my opinion. Like, you need to have a relationship with God, and I'm not telling you what to do with your life. But the reason why you have that relationship is because you need to step outside of yourself and realize that it's not all about you. It's not. It's about humanity. It's very selfish to think that you are you. Although I do believe that individualism sometimes is good. It really is good sometimes, especially when it comes to competing against other people. It's competition is good and healthy. It really is. Because you know why it's good and healthy? Let me explain why. Because it pushes yourself to try to be better than the other person. So the best of yourself comes out. The best of yourself comes out when you give your all. And that's the best way to make the best improvement on yourself, is to bring the best out of yourself. Right? Nothing wrong with that. Let me press on with this. Well, the science isn't on their side right now. Obviously. Sure, the Charlie Victor injections offer better outcomes when a person gets ill with the woo. Particularly those at risk for negative outcomes. They're a giant scientific breakthrough, even though they're obviously not perfect yet. They do not, however, provide total immunity. Oh, really? But people swear on it. That's why they're forcing all of us to get it. That's why they're shaming people who are not vaccinated. Right? They do not prevent us from catching or spreading Charlie Victor. In fact, much like every other attempt we've made at stopping the virus, they stop short, unlike a different virus and vaccine, which we did not mandate for access to society. Polio. The first outbreak of polio occurred in 1894 in Vermont. It affected 132 people. 132 people. Now, although I'm Asian, I'm horrible at math. But if you compare the mass population and ratio that out with 132, that doesn't even make 1%. That doesn't even make 0.5%. Hell, that does not even make 1/4%. Wow. In 1916, a larger outbreak hit New York City. 27,000 people contracted it. 6,000 died. It goes back to the numbers again, right? You do the math on that. The whole population. For example, just New York City, the whole population. And then you have 6,000 people who died from it. What's the ratio? Do the math. From that point forward, polio became a part of life, primarily in the summer. For those who don't know, polio was horrendous. No, absolutely. I agree that polio is a horrendous disease, but I don't think it's as common as they're trying to advertise here. It's not as common. It mainly targeted children, sometimes causing deformities and paralysis. It also got adults. Franklin D. Roosevelt was in a wheelchair from a polio infection. He had died at 39. It's unfortunate. People will get these things, I'm not trying to say randomly, but there's going to be a small percentage of people out there in the population that will contract something that's very rare. It happens. It happens because that's just the cycle of life, right? Things like that happen. But it's not as common as people think it is, Again, people, the common sense here, like use your eyes, right? Use the brain that you got in here. Okay? Don't think with your emotions. Like, who gives a shit how you feel? Go with the facts. I know it's a cliche thing to say something to the effect of facts matter and all this stuff, but in the whole grand scheme of things, yes, facts do matter. They do. Let me read on. The polio vaccine didn't come along until the 1950s, with widespread vaccination starting in 1955. By 1979, polio was eliminated from the United States. I don't think it was eliminated. I think it pushed the numbers back down. I'm pretty sure that the numbers are still, I mean, there's still people who can contract it, you know. Nothing is 100%. Nothing. But I will tell you something that's 100%, kind of on and off topic. God's love for us is 100%. It's unconditional. It's unconditional. That's 100%. Hell, that's 1,000%. He loves you. Let me press on here. While there were public education campaigns, no one ever had to show proof of that vaccination to get into a restaurant or keep a job. Wow. Would you imagine that? Back then, the experts actually tried to inform people and treat them like adults rather than subjects. Oh, you know, well written. Well written. Being treated like adults rather than subjects. Dude, this right here, this part of the sentence, treat them like adults rather than subjects. This just goes to show that we're all numbers to these mother effers. We're just numbers. That's all that we are. Nobody, you know who cares? Your little circle of people that you know, that you are close to. Those are the only people that care about you. The people in your little circle, is what matters. It's a sad thing to say, huh? It's sad to think that we are all thought of as subjects. Like the human part of it is just taken away. Which is why it's easy for these MFers to make decisions on a snap of a finger, because they don't look at us as human beings. They don't. Matter of fact, I'll even go forward to say that they would love to get rid of us so they can have everything to themselves. Call me a conspiracy theorist. I don't care what you call me. But that just seems to be the way it's going. That's what I see. That's how I perceive it, right? People's perception matters. It's how they see things. And unlike the Charlie Victor shots, polio vaccines actually prevented one from catching it. Would you imagine that? They actually really cared about people back then. Whatever happened to the caring, huh? Encouraging people to assess their own risks and make corresponding decisions is still the way to go. But they're not allowing us to make our own decisions anymore. Because of so many lazy-ass people who don't want to make decisions and want the government to make decisions for us, now they're encroaching on people like myself who don't want the government to make decisions for me. Because the mass majority of people are the fucking lazy ones. And I'm sorry to say that. Think for yourself, man. Think for your fucking self. Oh, it really gets frustrating at times when I have to read stuff like this, you know? I look at it as a joke when I read the title of the article. I don't read the article itself until I get on the mic. But as soon as I start reading this stuff, it just blows my mind, because people are willingly making this happen. Like, they're allowing it to happen because they're so lazy to even. They're lazy. They're lazy. Encouraging seatbelt use and discouraging people from drinking booze by the gallon are good ideas. Encouraging people to get a shot that basically reduces the risk of negative outcomes to zero is as well. Encouragement, however, stops short of demanding people surrender control of their bodies in order to participate in society. Bam. Right there. Right there, man. This is the direction that we're going. Biblical shit, man. Right? Mark of the beast stuff. Think about it. for all you so-called Christians out there, look, I am not a highly educated so-called Christian. I don't even consider myself a Christian. I consider myself a Christ follower. Okay? It's all in the Bible. You people who call yourself Christians know this stuff in the Bible, but yet you still allow this to happen? I don't get it. Are you only a Christian when it's time to on Sundays or something? And even at that, Sundays is the wrong day to worship. It really is. Saturday is actually the Sabbath day. I've done study on that. So, a lot of people out there, and I'm gonna call them for what for what it is. I'm not trying to talk shit or whatever, but when people make mistakes, man, or when they're acting when they're behaving in a way where they think that they're more righteous than the other, then I have to call them out for mistakes that they're making in order for them to level themselves back down. And God doesn't work that way. Like God doesn't work in a way where you only become your righteous self on a particular day of the week because that's the day you go to church. No, you're supposed to do that every day. You're supposed to be the best person you can be every day. You're supposed to keep in touch with God every day. I admit, I myself am not perfect. I try my best to do it I try my best to pray to Him every day and share scripture and read scripture every day. I do try. Life sometimes gets in my way that it just happens, and I don't have a chance to get to praying or reading scripture. It happens, but I do make it a part of my life, and I do make it important for me to do it. I try to do at least one or the other if I can't do both every day. I try. I really do. I'm going to read on here. Life is risk, and we cannot change that fact by rule or regulation. Right. Like, you could be walking outside in the street, right? And all of a sudden a car swerves and hits you, plow, you die. Like, how are you going to prevent that? Anything can happen. We don't need the government to be our nanny. We don't need them to be our nanny. Okay? When are people going to realize this, man? That you give them a little bit, they're going to, okay, do you understand the saying of you give them an inch, they take a foot? Like, this is exactly what they're doing. But yet, it goes back to what I said. People they're lazy, man. They can't make the decisions for themselves of their own lives because they don't want to take the responsibility. Oh. Jeez, man, I hate repeating myself. I repeat myself with my kids all the time. And having to come up here on the mic and having to repeat myself over and over again, because I'm trying to reach those people who are still not aware of what's going on. I'm still trying to reach them. Even though the numbers don't really show up on my podcast, I don't care, man. Like, somebody could be sharing that with somebody. I don't care. We really need to wake people up. We do. Some are trying to prove that truth wrong, itching for demands that everyone accept a shot that will not end Charlie Victor, but only mitigate its risks. But there is no stopping Charlie Victor. There is only living with it. That is a true statement. It's here to stay. It really is. Moreover, it's not the government's job to keep us alive, right? That's what I just said. Instead of accepting that, We're forging ahead with unjustifiable demands that people get a shot to protect not others, but themselves. Like, if you're vaccinated, leave me alone. You're safe, right? Jeez. What has happened to the minds of people? What has happened? Man, I'm going pretty long on this. In the age of Charlie Victor, common sense and perspective have gone out the window, which is what I've been stressing out since the beginning of this article. Catching an airborne virus is treated as a moral failing. In such a world, a future in which we have to show proof of safe driving to enter a restaurant or a gym may sound ridiculous, but that doesn't mean the present is any less so. Oh, wow. Great article, man. Great article, but at the same time, I have to stop so many times because it comes down to just common sense thinking, which I don't think even exists as common as I want it to believe. Because if sense was that common, we wouldn't be in the position we are right now. And also, if we were more aware of these things going on, if more people were aware, I don't think we'd be in the situation we were in right now. But, that's neither here or there, because we're at where we're at now, right? There's no wishing on things now at this point, as far as shoulda, coulda, woulda, because we're at where we're at now. So let's try to fix it. Let us try to fix it. And the only way we're gonna fix this, and honestly, this is just my opinion, is waking up the mass public. Like, this doesn't have to go to like any type of how do you say, like a war where people are killing each other, shooting each other. No. If we can get the numbers and shake up like the government and let them know what our grievances are and demand that they change this stuff, we can be able to win. We can. But that's going to take a majority of people. Not everybody, but the majority. And as much as a lot of awakened people want to believe we are the majority, I'm sorry to tell you, but and I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer or a black-pilled person. I'm just being real about what I see. Okay? I don't want to give any kind of hopium out there or make us think that we're the majority. You get what I mean. I just want people to realize that we're not. So we have our work cut out for us. We need to start educating more people out there. And I'm not talking about just myself or people who create content out there, but people who are actually awake and who can have these discussions with people who are willing to listen. And that's key, like willing to listen, okay? Don't waste your time on somebody who's not going to listen to you, who's just constantly going to argue with you or call you names or whatever. You want to be able to converse with somebody who's open enough to have conversation. And that's the way you're going to get them to see what's going on. Hit them with facts. So, man, I've been going a long time on this one. I'm going to take a break, but when we get back, I'm going to review another article here. I'll try to keep it as short as I can. It is Charlie Victor related, but, we'll see. So I will catch you on the other side. And welcome back to the other side. The next article I have for review comes from Zero Hedge. This one was written by Tyler Durdant, and it was published on Thursday, August 26th of this year. Article reads, ruling class increasingly calls upon the private sector to make lives of the, quote, unvaccinated difficult. Interesting, huh? Kind of alludes to what I was talking about earlier on the last article. Is anyone sick of being ruled and owned yet? the ruling class is not letting up and increasingly calling upon businesses in the private sector to help them roll out the permanent slave state. They aren't even trying to hide the fact that they want to own us, our bodies, and our minds at this point. Gubernatorial nominee Terry McAuliffe is just one of the tyrants calling on businesses to mandate Charlie Victor 19 vaccines after promoting efforts to make the lives of those who are unvaccinated more, quote, difficult. Joe Biden has already tried this play right out of the slave owner's handbook. The ruling class urges businesses to mandate Charlie Victor vaccines for employment. It's like these rulers know they cannot do this alone. The slaves have to help them, and sadly, all too many are all too ready to help make this planet a permanent prison. Yeah, unfortunately, I agree. I agree with this to an extent. The statement that was just made. This only gets worse, though, as more people start to figure out what's really going on. McAuliffe called on every Virginia employer this week to mandate Charlie Victor 19 vaccines among all eligible employees, according to a report by RT. I have long said that the best way to defeat this deadly virus, keep our students in school, and keep Virginians' economy strong is by getting every eligible Virginian vaccinated as quickly as possible, McAuliffe said in a public statement announced, which followed the Food and Drug Administration officially approving their first Charlie Victor 19 vaccine, a Pfizer BioNTech 2-dose vaccine, on Monday, and that was by RT. So now, private businesses are going to do the bidding of the state, making sure some slaves get at least a little control over some of the other slaves. It's still insanity to think that any business is still around after mandating people get injected with an experimental gene therapy drug that the manufacturers of face no liability whatsoever, even if that drug kills them. Who owns you if you have no say as to what goes into your body? The ruling class has admitted they can't force these shots on people yet, but they can make their lives as slaves a living hell. Wow. Make it hard for people to get on planes or go to movie theaters, he said at a Health Care Information and Management Systems Society, HIMSS, conference in Las Vegas. Acknowledging that you can't force vaccines by law, McAuliffe, recently endorsed by anti-Trump Republican Bill Kristol, called on private businesses to be the ones to punish those who refuse to get inoculated. That was by RT again. But when have the rulers who make the law ever cared about following it anyway? Right? Rules for thee, but not for me. Laws are for the slaves, not those who own slaves. Oh, I see now. Oh, I get it. So we're the slaves, according to you, right? I don't think so. But when have the rulers who make the law ever cared about following it anyway? I've already said that part. We can't force them. We're not going door to door, but you make life difficult, he said. If you're going to come to the HIMSS conference, you got to be vaccinated. Well, why don't you go ahead and go to that conference, and you go ahead and get you yours, right? this Twitter's user summed it up perfectly. They want us to know they think they own us, and many are still too far entrenched in the left versus right paradigm lie to see it. No, that is a true statement. That is a true statement. People are still picking sides when the only side you should be picking is the side of humanity, right? It's the ruling class against everyone else. Time to wake up and apply the critical thinking we have been honing for the past year and a half. This is only the beginning in many ways. Once again, this article came from Zero Hedge, written by Tyler Durden, published on August 26th of this year. Well, I think I've went on a rant already about what I think about these rules that are being implemented, right? And what I think about how people, and I'm talking about the people who are not even awake, you need to do something about that. I really don't know what to say about that. As far as not being able to see what's really going on here. It's very clear. For me it is. I guess it's because I'm more aware of what has been going on for years. But it still doesn't, there's still no excuse for it. There's still no excuse. Can't you see that they're playing games with our lives? Lock down the state, the country, open it back up. Wear a mask. Don't wear a mask. Wear mask again. Right? Charlie Victor 19, Charlie Victor 19 Delta variant. More people are dying. More people are dying of the vaccination. You get where I'm going with this. This is all being played out. And unfortunately, we're all the pieces in this chessboard. And they are playing games with our lives. And they don't give a damn about us. We're just, in my opinion, I think they think of us as less than human. More like cattle. More like cattle. And I don't understand why people don't see that. We're just numbers to them. And that totally dehumanizes, that dehumanizes them, which is easy for them to make decisions like that in order for us just to die. And I know I was stuttering on my words, I'm sorry, but I'm trying to think of things to say that I've already haven't said, but I think I've already said as much as I could from the last article. I just wanted to put this article there on top of that to kind of validate for you people out there who still don't think that this is all a game being played with us. And it's not because they're concerned about us. It's because they want to rule over us, and they want to take away our freedoms, and they want to kill us because they want to be able to have everything to themselves. So, do what you may from my take. You have your own brain. You come up with your own conclusions. And that is the reason why I do this, is because I want you people to start critically thinking or even doing research on your own to find out things. I just come on here to, try to show you a direction on where to look. You don't necessarily have to agree with what I'm saying. There's no excuse out there. Information is out there. It's who of you to kind of vet that to see if it's bullshit or not. Because, I admit that there's a lot of BS going on out there too on the internet, but please, whatever you have left inside that head of yours called a brain, use it. That's why God has given it to us, because we must use it. So, as I end every show, but before I end the show, I always have to self-plug. I have to self-plug. You can donate to the show with my, there's links to my Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. I have also a merchandise store that you can support. Everything is on the description box. All the links are there. And please check out thespeakuneasy.tv. It's another, it is my website, and I'm trying to build that up where I can start doing live stuff there and hopefully make a membership section in that website, so then I will be able to offer a little bit more to those who support this show every month. I want to thank all of you guys for lending me your ears and your time. And I really hope and pray to God that, please, do whatever research you can for yourself. Don't ever take my words for it or any other content creator's words for it. We all have to use discernment at some point in time in our life when it comes to important information. And it is your responsibility to do the research. So, as I end every show, and hopefully I get to talk into your ear again next week, with that being said,
The bar is now closed.
I can't help but wonder if I'm under a spell. It's more than a passing notion. I've never fallen with such devotion. I can't help but wonder if it's only a dream. Am I naive or can I believe that things are really as they seem? Can anyone explain how to understand what's true? I know I just can't take it. Whenever I'm with you, I can't help but wonder if you wonder about me. 'Cause lately I can't help but wonder how wonderful this might be. Can anyone explain it? How to understand what's true? I know I just can't take it. Whenever I'm with you, I can't help but wonder if you wonder about me. 'Cause lately I can't help but wonder how wonderful this might be. 'Cause lately I can't help